Alright, welcome back. So today we have another vise. This is a Yankee number 993. Um, Looks like a drill press vise or a machinist vise or machine vise of some sort. It's old. I got this at a yard sale, about almost a year ago, and I paid less than $1 for it. It's been pretty well used. There's drill holes in it. It's been broken once before and repaired, and it looks like we've got another issue there. Looks like it's broken right down here. It's a really interesting little vise. This thing's built like a tank, and if I put it in here, because I thought this right here was my fixed jaw, but when I move this, this is my fixed jaw right here, which is really interesting. I don't think I've quite seen a vise like this. Usually, this would be moving forward and back with a turn of this, but that's held in there rigid over here, and the jaw goes underneath. It's really and it's smooth for as old as it is and as well used as it's been used. It's a pretty smooth little vise. Anyways, so I'm gonna bring this back into shape. I'm gonna clean it up. I'm gonna fix this issue down here. And the nice thing about these old vises, there's not a whole lot of parts on it, and all the fasteners are slotted, and it's got a couple of slotted screws back here. Like that, so that takes the faceplate off. So there's a faceplate. So it looks like we can change faceplates around if we need to. There we go. I'll put those back in there. And then turn this around. Pull this other faceplate off here. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's definitely not it. Maybe no, it's not a toolmaker vise. I don't think. I don't know. I'd have to. Oops. I'd have to look it up. But it's a cool little vise, and like I said, I get paid less than $1 for it. So nice to have. Throw it on a drill press for small stuff. It's interesting. Well, stamp on there 136. Wonder if this one's got it too. 136. So these must have been a mated pair. Wondering when they were new. That's interesting. Looks like they just cut chunks of steel. Huh. Oh, I know why. It's because that side's radiused and that side's flat. This side's radiused. Okay. That has been brazed or something. That is dirty. Crap down all in here. It's going to require... it's all kinds of junk. So like I said, this has been broken. And it looks like when they fixed it, they used some sort of braze. You can see a little bit of remnant of copper in there. Well, fortunately, I know a trick to repair cast with nickel and TIG welding. I've done quite a bit of cast iron repair. Not the best in the world, but I'm pretty decent at it. So this shouldn't be too much of a challenge. I've repaired vices before. So this screw is like a retainer. I'm just bound and determined to lose every single screw. Okay, so that is not broken, which which is a relief, other than right there. So that is just the way that's held. Okay, so thought I had, so I definitely don't have a spanner to span that, a spanner wrench to get that out, and tried it with a punch. It's not going to come out. One thing I've learned about trying to use tools that aren't really designed for what you're trying to do, is your chances are you're going to mess that up. And this vise is so free moving as it is now. I mean, there is no effort to that. I mean, it is absolutely smooth. There is no grease on this whatsoever, and it spins so free. So what I'm going to do, all I'm going to do, is just loosen these screws up down here that hold these little guides in. I'm just going to take these screws actually completely out and knock these guides out. Maybe I'm going to do that. Those guides are pretty in there. Okay. Put a little punch and a little tap on it, maybe. There they come. Maybe what we'll do is shoot a little penetrating fluid on there to get them to loosen up. But what I'm going to do is take these pads out. So there and there. I'm going to take those out. I'm going to take all this. I'm going to set it in. I'm going to get a bucket that's deep enough. I'm going to set all these parts in vinegar. Now don't worry, vinegar won't hurt it a bit. I've had people tell me that vinegar will destroy these. It destroys the finish. There's no finish on it whatsoever. It's not going to eat the metal surface away to where you can't see markings. It's not, vinegar's not that powerful. Never has been. I mean, maybe if you left it in vinegar for years, but I'm just going to leave it in for maybe 24 hours. There they come. Alright, so it's in pretty good shape. Anyways, let's pull those out. It wants to be stubborn. There it goes. Okay, so the reason why I took that out is I want to make sure that vinegar gets down inside. Here, let me show you. I want to make sure that vinegar, will get down inside these ways right here. Alright, so I have pulled all my parts out of the vinegar bath, and actually I left these parts in for about 3 days, and I had somebody a while back tell me that if I left metal in vinegar for that long that it would totally eat the etch away, or any stamp or any sort of identification mark on the steel, and they were full of crap. Not only did it leave the etch, if you can see that, maybe, not only did it leave the etch and make it easier to read, but I also found an etch on this piece right there that I didn't even know was here. So it's a Yankee vise clamp. So this is a number 299. This is a number 99. This steel has been exposed, so I'm going to need to treat it. You could oil it. You could paint it. You could put a clear coat on it. Whatever. I'm not going to do any of that. I like the natural raw casting, so I'm just going to use a good old friend, paste wax. I use this stuff for everything. And now that it's turning warmer here, the paste wax is very fluid, but it goes on really well. It penetrates really well. Gets really into the pores of the castings. You know, the nice thing about cast is it's even cast steel. It's pretty porous. So this oil or this wax really seeps in, and then I'll just have to apply this every so often. And you know, if you're using this a lot, of course, when you're drilling or machining, you're going to be using oil, cutting oil. So it actually throws a little bit of a lubrication on this surface. And I could oil it with machine oil too, but I want to get this. I want to get this wax in to get these pores. So I'm going to use this first, and then I'll just every period, you know, just periodically just hit it with some machine oil, and then that'll keep it from rusting. Okay, so this has all been greased on the outside, or not greased, but paste waxed on the outside. I've greased this lead screw with a little bit of bearing grease. I also greased these ways up in here and this sliding block, and you can see there's a little bit of excess grease there. Not going to hurt a thing. So now all I have left to do is just install these plates here. And one thing that I want to make sure that so a couple of things. See how one plate has a radius to it? See how that plate has a radius to it? This one doesn't. So that wasn't a mistake. There's actually a slight radius right here, right along this edge, that this plate goes onto, and see how it fits nice and tight? If it didn't have a radius, see how you'd have that gap there? So about the only way to do it is you'd have to mill it flat. This way it's easier to mill. So radius goes to the radius. Now, one thing I've learned about slotted screws, which I hate slotted screws, I think they're terrible. You want to make sure that you have the right size screwdriver to fit inside that slot. So if you're trying to put this together, or especially take it apart with a tiny little screwdriver head like this, see how that fits in there and kind of wiggles around? That is going to mess that screw head up. It is going to be absolutely terrible. To where if you have one like this, see how that's much bigger, there's more contact with the screw. This is going to help reduce stripping of the head or marring it up or anything like that. So you want to make sure that you're using the right screwdriver for the job if you've got it. So I'm just going to put these screws in and screw. Alright, found it. So, it fallen and hit me in the shoe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install this. I'll bring this down so you can see it. I'm going to install this right I'm going to install this right in there in that hole. And what that's going to do is that as I put that in or out, see how that vise rocks back and forth? The further I screw in my set screw, the less rocking I'm going to have. So I put that in, and it's going to push it forward. Get that out of your way there. So again, making sure I have the right size screwdriver or close to it. I'm going to screw that in, keep going, and that, might have to switch to a smaller driver. Should, here we go. That should push that in. Almost. Where's my other screwdriver? There we go. There. Now, you can see. Now, that's just moving because it's this lead screw up here. But in terms of the actual vise moving back and forth. Because, I mean, technically this is the fixed jaw here, which is weird. This whole piece, this whole apparatus underneath slides. So this is my movable jaw. Let's see how that... So you can see what I'm talking about here. You can see this one moving here. This one's fixed. That to me, I've never seen a vise like that before. It's pretty cool. So anyways, this vise is all done. It's ready to go. And it's going to provide some good surface for my drill press. So again, this is called either a drill press vise, machinist vise. I've seen it called tool vise, toolmaker vise. I don't know. There are a bunch of names for these small vices like this. But anyways, it's done. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. You know, I always like questions, comments, anything like that. So feel free to leave those down at the bottom. Remember to like and subscribe. And next video I have, I'm going to have another neat project, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.